Welcome once again to the KEL Show. I am, in fact, KEL, your host for this evening. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you spending your night with me, or your day. I don't know what time you're watching this, but thanks for tuning in. Another exciting night, another exciting episode of the good old show. My favorite thing I get to do is talk to you from my little secret lair studio deep underground in the heart of Prague, in the heart of Central Europe. Lots to talk about as always. I'd like to start us off with a quote to set the mood. This is by Charles Bukowski. Find what you love and let it kill you. And isn't that what we're here doing all the time? Isn't that what the goal is, really? Something's going to kill us. We're dying every day. So why not make it something you love? Bleed for it. Another little quote. What matters most is how well you walk through the fire. So that's what we're doing. Going to learn how to walk through the fire together. Talk it out. This is my chance to be able to talk through my issues and the things that I go through in this tricky little game we call the entertainment business. So I've got a couple of things to talk about today. And on the note of what in keeping with the theme of the show, with our quote from Mr. Bukowski, I saw a clip where Sir Elton John, one of the greatest musical minds we've had, one of the living legend of all time in pop and rock music. I saw him. He's promoting his new album that he has with Randy Carlisle. And he was on the Jimmy Fallon show. And they were doing some of that stupid shit that people do on the Jimmy Fallon show, which is, I don't know, play Pictionary or some charades or some dumb shit. And it made me think that Elton John, after all he's done, after all he's given us, after all he's contributed to the world with his music, has to go on some corny ass show and play a game so people like him enough to listen to his new music. And that kind of made me sad. Like, you know, there's levels to it, and once you're Elton John, you have to reach the masses, and your music deserves to reach the masses, and the masses are grateful for it. But it's so wild what you have to do to get people to pay attention. And I guess it's always been happening, that there's always been the promotion, the business, and then the art, and the crossroads of where you have to sell it. And it's a weird thing. And these days, when we're in this world of social media, it's crazy that more of your effort almost has to go to the promotion. I would say most artists these days have to spend a lot more time making TikToks than they do making music. And I guess the big question is why? Or is that all it's worth anymore? And I think that it goes back. I was watching our good friend Rick Beato talking about how the value of music has decreased because the cost of entry has also gone to almost nothing. That it used to be very, very expensive and hard to make something that sounded good, to get a band in a studio and record something that sounded good. And then you'd release it, and it was very hard to get it into a store. And then as a fan, as a listener, you'd have to work and you'd have to spend your time to make some money, and then you'd have to take that money and you'd have to actually physically get up and go out of your house and go to a store and buy the album or the CD or the cassette tape or whatever, and then bring it home and listen to it. So the whole process from the creation to the consumption was just more difficult. And on every level, the difficulty made it more valuable. And it made it more important. So I have a wife who, when she first started earning her own money when she was young and she first got a job, she lived in Slovakia. In Slovakia in those days, that people didn't make very much money. And the CDs cost the same as they did in America. But for a Slovak wage, that was a crazy amount of money that you would have to spend for a CD. So every month when she got paid, she'd buy a CD. And she'd play the words off. And it helped her learn English. And that music to her is still so important and so valuable because it cost her a lot. It cost her a lot of effort. It cost her a lot of time. It cost her a lot of money. And therefore it holds a more special place, I think, for her because it was precious, because it was challenging, because it was hard. People need to do hard things. And when you do hard things, then you have a bigger sense of accomplishment for doing them. And even on the consumption, there's a such thing as a lab-made diamond now, which is 100% just a diamond. There's no difference. Actually, they're probably better than a diamond pulled out of a mine, probably by a child, and definitely with a lot of suffering on somebody's part. And people seem to not be interested in these lab-created diamonds, even though they're literally the exact same thing. But because it was easier to get, it doesn't hold the same amount of value. And it's a weird thing with human psychology with that whole thing. And it's definitely holds true with music. When somebody can make great sounding music, and in no way am I trying to diminish the quality of what's out there now. But because it's easier to make, it's easier to get, it literally just shows up on your phone. It definitely doesn't hold the value it used to hold for people. So people are not willing to spend as much money for it. When you spend $10 a month on Spotify and you have literally all the music that ever existed, and when a new album comes out by your favorite artist, it doesn't matter where you are. It's just there on Spotify, on your phone, and you can just listen to it right now. So it takes zero effort to get to it. And you spend less money a month for all of the music that ever existed than we had to spend back in the day for one CD. So, yeah. Difficulty of acquisition creates value. So, art is supposed to save us. But for a lot of us artists, while it's saving us, it feels like it's slowly killing us. So, why do it? Is the big question. People have asked me this all the time. Because it takes a lot of suffering sometimes to get to a point where you suffer less. And I don't think there's ever a place for most of us that we ever feel like we're quite good enough or quite there or we quite made it or we quite did it, so to speak. And I think the beauty is in the challenge, that there's no place to get to. There's no winning. You know, in a sport, there's usually a season or something like that. There's a championship, there's a path, and then there's a result, and it's definitive. Whereas in music, there's no wins or losses. There's just whether or not you think personally it's better than what you did before. And then when the feedback from the audience is incongruent with how you felt, it's a really strange dichotomy of feelings inside of your brain. So yeah, it's a strange game. And as much as I've been talking about how it's possible for anybody to be able to do it, I don't necessarily think everybody should. It's definitely not for everybody in that sense. All right, I need a sip of something here. So, in other news, I had a couple stories I wanted to tell. I'm probably not going to do it right now, but in the future, I'll be telling these stories. I'm going to need some answers about some strange thoughts I had. About a song. So I was walking down the street, and this song popped in my head. And it's a song from a few years back. And it got me a little nostalgic when I started thinking about it. But then I realized that this song actually never really existed. This was a song that I wrote, but only in my head. I never played it on an instrument. I never sang it out loud. I never recorded it or anything. Never performed it. It just was an idea I had. So then I but it popped in my head for some reason, and it got me thinking about it. And I was singing it, walking down the street, and I started to think about the idea of, wait a minute, does this song actually exist? I mean, it's a memory for me, but is it even a real thing? And I thought, who better to ask than the internet for such an important piece of information? So I'll put that question out there pretty soon in some digestible format. So, in my tradition, I've got some questions I've been saving up for just this very occasion when I'm down here talking to you. Are we making music or just bait for the algorithm's attention span? So that's a thing, and I think everything's trendy. Now, I think for a lot of years, past few years, people have really been trying to play to the algorithm because that's really the only pathway to any kind of notoriety or success these days. If you're nobody, you need to blow up on TikTok to become somebody in the music business. That's just honestly the only way it happens now. And unless somebody can prove me wrong, which I'd love for them to do, I don't see any other even platform besides TikTok where any new music has come from recently. So basically, people were trying to make TikTok music for a while because they were just trying to, make a career and get successful. And, I'm not going to hate on people for giving it a shot and doing whatever they think is necessary. However, I've always said everything is a pendulum that swings back and forth. And when stuff goes a little bit too far one way, then it just snaps back, and then it usually goes a little bit too far the other way. Politics is a very clear place to witness this. It just goes way too far one way, and then it swings back, doesn't stop in the middle where it should. It just keeps on swinging way past decency to the other side. So I think music is the same. I think music was starting to get too polished and too controlled and too tuned and quantized and cleaned up, that I think we're starting to see some rawness come back to it. I think, although it was completely auto-tuned, I think actually Charlie XCX's Brat album was an example of a bit of rawness. Of course, it's electronic, and of course, it's blatantly auto-tuned, but if you listen to that song she had with Lorde, that girl, or So Confusing for a Girl, I mean, it sounds rough around the edges. I mean, the auto-tune's doing all kind of strange things and making artifacts, and I know that's on purpose. This was a big budget project with big names and big people and a lot of talent involved. So I know it's not a mistake. So I think that you can already start to see the pendulum going back the other way. And I haven't heard it yet, but somebody told me that Youngblood just released a song that's like 6 or 7 minutes long. I think we're going to start seeing really long songs again. This is just my little prediction. And yeah, I hope actually something will change to make music a little bit more important to people. I hope. I don't know if I think. I hope. I think it might be a while before anything has any kind of meaning or gravitas, so to speak. So we will see about all that. Okay, let's ask another question. And again, how do you stay authentic while dancing on TikTok to promote your heartbreak song? It's like, I don't think those artists... I mean, I do think there are some artists that are authentically enjoying doing stuff on TikTok. No, I think it's the same thing. Like, you have older artists, like I just mentioned Elton John doing stuff like Jimmy Fallon. I saw The Weeknd recently also on Jimmy Fallon. I mean, there's a theme with the Jimmy Fallon. He does corny ass shit. But The Weeknd going on Jimmy Fallon, trying to pretend like he's this down-to-earth, normal person that middle America can relate to. And just, I think The Weeknd's a great artist, and what's great about him is I don't think he's relatable at all. He plays these crazy characters, and he does this crazy shit, and he commits to a role for several years. He wore the same outfit, being a character for his album. And he's about to drop a new one, and I think that he's just, I don't know. To me, him trying to be normal seems more inauthentic than him being a weirdo artist. And then you have guys like Ed Sheeran, who he's out dressing up in the subway, pretending to be buskers, and it's all fake and it's all bullshit. And my point is, I think that's just as dumb as people doing TikToks. It's just on the TikToks, it's supposed to be more authentic, like you're doing it yourself, because it's a lot of normal people on TikTok doing shit like that. So artists and musicians try to be normal. I mean, I saw it's popped up on my algorithm, some country singer that, to me, somebody in the game, it's like it's obvious it's a country singer trying to promote himself. However, his TikToks are filmed by his wife saying, "Oh, my husband putting my baby to bed." And of course, he's always singing in the videos. And of course, the audio's there and links to his songs on TikTok are there and all that stuff. So it's definitely just promo. But they're doing it in a way that's supposed to be like down to earth, normal. Look at this normal guy that just happens to sing like a professional while he's changing his baby's diaper. It's like, okay. I kind of don't like that stuff. Personally, I am more of a fan of the finished thought, the real art, the character. I mentioned on the show here before, one of my favorite artists is Lana Del Rey, and I don't think she's anything like her stage persona. I think her real personality is not that at all. I think she's a completely different person than her art would have us believe. And I think that's okay. I think there should be separation between the art and the artist. And we live in an era, and maybe it's going to change forever. Maybe it's going to be like this forever. But we live in this era where the artist is almost more important than the art. Yeah, I've heard some comedians do some bits about, what's the difference between listening to Michael Jackson and R. Kelly. It's like they both did bad shit, but, Michael Jackson's music is just better. And, I don't think we should stop listening to Michael Jackson or R. Kelly because they did weird, bad shit, or Kanye. I just don't think that we should confuse the art with the artist. I mean, if that's the case, then should we live in a house because the guy who built it was an asshole and beat his wife? Should we eat at a restaurant if the waitress was a slut or whatever? Or, let's not say that. I'm going to change that. Should we eat in a restaurant if the chef had a drug problem? Music, I think especially, is the one area where people try to make the thing where the creation and the creator are one thing almost. So we just have so much access to people these days that we can find this out. I mean, Ernest Hemingway was legendarily an asshole, but we don't discredit his work because he was probably a drunken dick. Or Vincent van Gogh cut his own ear off, obviously was not mentally stable. He was not obviously okay as a human being. But that doesn't mean his art wasn't great. I mean, who knows what Mozart and Beethoven were like on their days off or when they were chilling at a party. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Does it make the work any less good? I don't think so. Runaway by Kanye is just as good today as it was before he started saying this next level crazy shit that he's been saying recently. And man, it's pretty hard to be a Kanye fan these days, I gotta say. I stopped trying to defend him. It's not worth it. So there we go. All right. One more. So when did talent get replaced by tricks? Now, I think this is just one of those things where there's there's two sides to music, and there's two sides to the music business. And at the end of the day, music is entertainment. Now, there's a certain type of musician that might not be good at music, but is a good at entertaining, and vice versa. There are some truly gifted artists and creators that just are not necessarily fun to watch in some situations, I'll say. And some people really like that cornball stuff. And some people are really good at it, and they really just embrace it. And I know people love it. Personally, I hate it. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. It might be wrong for you, might be wrong for me, but for somebody it's right. And so sometimes I think that sometimes the tricks aren't really tricks. It's just something, part of what that person dreamt of doing when they were starting out. I mean, I think some people dreamt of jumping on bar stools and doing guitar solos in people's faces and connecting with a crowd on some level like that or in some way like that. To me, that was never what I was into, for example. And, some people like making funny skits on TikTok about their music and doing bad acting and playing bad characters. And I don't think it's funny. I don't understand why anybody thinks it's funny, but I'm definitely the minority. So if the question is, when did talent get replaced by tricks? It's like, I don't know if it did. I just think there's always been talent and there's always been tricks. And some people with talent do tricks, and some people do tricks to replace the fact that they aren't very talented. And I mean, talent is one of those words that, what does that really mean? Anyway. Yeah. On that lovely note, hope it didn't come off too negative today. I don't want to be seen as negative. I don't not be seen as negative. I don't want to give the impression that I'm in any way anti what's happening now. I'm not one of those people who longs for the good old days. I think the good old days are right now. These are the best days of my life so far. I think there's more opportunity for people like me and musicians in general than there's probably ever been. There are more people probably making a living in music than there probably has ever been. And 90% of all the processes that are required to do something in music are drastically easier than they were even when I started, over 20 years ago. So the only thing that's different is now it's just a little bit harder to get attention. And that's a drastic understatement. It's drastically harder to get attention. But at least now it's possible. And when I was a kid coming up, you really just were dependent on somebody taking you by the hand and bringing you up to the next level. So those days are gone. The power's in our hands, and I, for one, am grateful. And I'm very grateful for you listening to me, watching me, hanging out with me, letting me rant, and letting me get stuff off my chest. So, for now, I bid you farewell. And if you want to stick around, the music portion of the show is coming right up. change your mind about leaving me behind. Lord, bring it to me, bring yours, bring it on home to me. Yeah, 'cause you know I laugh when you live, but I only hurt myself. Lord, bring it to me, bring yours, bring it on home to me. Yeah. said and done. Just never took the time. You were always on my mind. You were always on my mind. Maybe I didn't know you on this lonely, lonely night. Guess I could have told me. So happy that you're mine. Made me feel second best. Go forgive me, I was blind. But you were always on my mind. You were always on my mind. Tell me that our sweet love hasn't died. Give me one more chance to keep you satisfied, satisfied. Little things I should have said and done. Just never took the time. You were always on my mind. You were always on my mind. Tell me that our sweet love hasn't died. One more chance to keep you satisfied, satisfied. Maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should have. Maybe I didn't know you quite as often as I could. Said and done,
tripping me hard, keeping you safe from all till the end. Afraid of the dark, light up a spark, I'll be your best friend. I'll be right there by your side for the longest ride down the roughest road. I'll be right there by your side, I'll make you feel like home. If the waves come crashing down, trust I'll be around to keep you safe and sound. Let that rain keep pouring down, 'cause we're in this together now. I'll keep you safe and sound. Got nothing to fear, whenever I'm near. Stick together now. It's just the beginning of the story, already started now. I'll be right there by your side for the longest ride down the roughest road. I'll be right there by your side and make you feel like Hope I remember the words to this. This is a new one. Said you don't want me, I say you lie. You never leave me here. But if it's over, I'll be alright. Just one less cross to bear. Something's on my mind, I gotta get it out my chest. You better recognize that I'm the motherfucking best. I guess I could've tried, I could've played it better, but let me out the cage before I burn the nest. I'm free like a bird. I'm free like a bird. Now I'm free like a bird. Now I'm free. I'm just the mirror, but you look away. Too scared to see your face. So tell me when you run away, and I got lost in space. I didn't want to leave, but you know that I can stay. The colors that I painted, they were slowly turning gray. I guess I couldn't fight it, but I guess I never win. I done to the baby before the story ends. I'm free like a bird. Now 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 all right. We're gonna end on a classic.
So this is a little awkward, but I kind of just wanted to call and get it over with. Things haven't really been working out so well between us, and I think it's time for both of us to kind of just move forward.
Special. I wish I was special. But I'm a little. What the hell I did here? 'Cause I don't belong here. Don't care for this. I want a perfect body. I want a perfect soul. I want you to know this, but I'm not around. So fucking special. I wish I was special. So fucking special. Wish I was special. But I'm a creep. I'm a widow. The hell am I doing here? 'Cause I don't belong here. I don't belong.
Thank you so much for your time and attention. You're amazing. I'll see you next time.
see here, kid? You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or what came before. You just gotta bend your knees, take a deep breath, and jump. And you might think, what if I fall? Well, what if you don't? What if you fly?